My name's Allison. I work at Williamson Wines here. Welcome in. Tell you a little bit about us. So, family owned. We do about 17 to 20,000 cases a year. All natural wines, so no pesticides, no herbicides, no sulfur in the barrels or in the vineyards themselves. Bill learned that natural farming technique from his paternal grandfather on a farm right outside of Sydney, Australia. Very good storyteller. He says he took the very first computer science class ever offered in Australia. Definitely not a true statement, but that's what brought him over to the States originally, that he was doing some consulting in Silicon Valley in the early 80s. And he was taking these beautiful weekend trips up to Dry Creek Valley and Napa Valley with his wife, Dawn, and really just fell in love with the land. He talks a lot about left bank, right bank Bordeaux being very similar to Napa Valley and Dry Creek Valley, where you get the Merlots and Dry Creek like the right bank, you get those big cabs in the left bank like Napa. So really found the value in the land and really just fell in love with the valley. Ultimately went back to Australia and then said to his wife, Dawn, Dawn, it's time for us to slow down a bit. Why don't we just be farmers in California? So came over with the idea that they were gonna buy a 50-acre ranch out in Dry Creek and grow some fruit, which we did for a few years. And then Bill said, Dawn, maybe just a Chardonnay and a Merlot. So Dawn was taking those Chardonnays and Merlot by the case and selling them to some of the higher end restaurants in the city. But Bill put his number on the cork. And so from there, people would call and say, hey, where can we get this wine? And Bill would say, why don't you just come on up to the ranch and share my wine with me? So Dawn would say I'd come home from running errands and Bill would have 4 people from the city in the backyard just tasting some wine. And that's kind of where our first tasting came to be. We do house-made jams, jellies, and mustards that we pair with our cheeses. As Dawn always said, what do you have in your fridge but a drawer full of cheeses and a drawer full of different jams and jellies to pair with. So first tasting room opened about 20 years ago now, just right up the street at 134 Matheson. We're here at 18 Matheson. After we started that cheese tasting, Bill said, what if we decided to make a recipe for every bottle of wine we did? So we started making recipes. You'll see some of those. Oh, we're gonna have that exact meatloaf for third course today. So started doing a little recipes. And then he said, well, we should invite our club members in and they should taste the recipes while they pick up their wine. So we do quite a few club parties now. You're doing our icon tasting, so 4-course food and wine pairing, very, very similar to the complimentary lunches that our club members do when they come to pick up their wine orders. Yeah.
Okay, twist the bottle around.
Oh yeah, there you go.
All right.
You're welcome.
So is it commonplace now that the Napa Valley wines are sulfite free? Because the red wines in particular used to really upset my stomach because
I'm sorry.
they had preservatives.
It's so sulfites preserve things. Sulfur also cleans things, right? So you can clean your barrel with it. You can clean your tanks with it. It also, people spray it on the vineyards. We don't spray. That being said, every vineyard's different.
Because the very first red wine I tasted that didn't upset my stomach was in Italy.
Yeah.
Because they don't use the preservatives.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm allergic to sulfur medications like erythromycin and stuff like that, and my eyelids will get really swollen. Like I don't keel over or anything, but I've noticed wines high in sulfites, my eyelids will get swollen up. So, yeah.
Good. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, Bill calls it non-interventionalist winemaking. So the least amount of stuff he has to do to the fruit. He's more into how many leaves are on the vines, how many bunches are coming in, how much fruit are we actually taking off, how much fruit are we dropping and tilling back in the land for its nutrients. Hello. How up, my friends? How are you? Have a seat. Really, really good for our earth, right? All about putting nutrients back in. So we'll do ryegrass, and then we'll also do fava beans. And we'll plant those every other year and we'll till those into the land, and that puts those nutrients back into the soil for us. Yeah, perfect.
Okay.